In 2025, several American politicians once again claimed the US economy is stronger than ever. But here's the paradox: nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Even people making $100,000 a year. How is that possible in the richest country in the world? And the biggest question is this a poverty problem? Or is the system designed in a way that keeps people from ever getting ahead? Today, we're going to break down why Americans are constantly drowning in debt, why good salaries are no longer enough, and how the average American can escape the financial trap. And near the end, I'll show you a realistic budget plan that actually works, even on an ordinary income. The most popular financial myth in America goes like this: if you stop buying coffee and food delivery, you'll become rich. Sounds nice, but the numbers tell a different story. The real problem isn't small purchases. It's three massive expenses growing faster than wages: housing, healthcare, and debt. Over the last few years, average rent prices in the US have risen so much that in many cities, people spend 35 to 50% of their income just on housing. Now add insurance, car payments, student loans, and credit cards, and suddenly, even people with good salaries are financially suffocating. Here's a real example. A family in Texas, household income $92,000 per year. Sounds decent, but after taxes, mortgage, daycare, car payments, health insurance, groceries, at the end of the month, they have less than $400 left. Any problem? A broken car, illness, job loss, instantly pushes the family into debt. And this is no longer the exception. It's the new American normal. But the most dangerous part isn't even the expenses. It's the way the US credit system works. In a minute, I'll show you the mechanism that keeps millions of people permanently short on money. America is a consumer economy, but there's one detail people rarely talk about. Most consumption is fueled by debt, credit cards, buy now pay later, auto loans, student debt. The system literally trains people to live on future income. Here's how it works. A person gets a raise, but instead of growing wealth, they increase monthly payments, lifestyle expenses, debt obligations. This is called lifestyle inflation. That's why people earning $50,000, $100,000, even $250,000 a year can still live in financial instability. Because the issue isn't income, it's cash flow. If every dollar is already assigned before you earn it, you stay broke regardless of salary. Now pay attention. Average credit card interest rates in the US often exceed 20%. That means, if someone only makes the minimum payment, banks can profit from them for decades. And this is where the psychological trap begins. People think, I'm almost managing. But in reality, debt grows faster than savings. Inflation eats the rest. Stress triggers more impulsive spending. It becomes a financial hamster wheel. If you've ever felt like you're working harder, but somehow keeping less money, type the word trap in the comments. I want to see how many people genuinely feel this system affecting their lives. Here's what's truly shocking. Many Americans aren't poor. They're overloaded with obligations. The US has built a culture where looking rich matters more than being financially free. Car loans, iPhones on payment plans, big houses, subscriptions, constant lifestyle upgrades. Social media only adds more pressure. People compare themselves to someone else's highlight reel. But nobody shows maxed out credit cards, late payments, anxiety, sleepless nights caused by debt. And here's the key idea. Financial stability is not about having a high income. It's about the gap between how much you earn and how much you're obligated to pay every month. A person earning $60,000 with low expenses can be wealthier than someone making $200,000 buried in debt. That's why America is seeing growing interest in minimalism, the FIRE movement, side income, investing. People are starting to realize working your entire life just to pay bills is a losing strategy. But now I'm going to show you the biggest mistake almost everyone makes when trying to escape debt. And it's exactly what prevents most people from saving even their first $10,000. When financial pressure hits, most people cut small luxuries, coffee, Netflix, occasional entertainment. But that rarely changes anything, because 80% of the problem comes from large fixed expenses. The biggest pressure points are housing, transportation, debt. For example, the difference between an $800 monthly car payment and a $300-$50 payment is more than $5,000 per year. One decision, one asset, and a massive difference in future wealth. The same applies to housing. Many Americans are moving farther from city centers, relocating to cheaper states, downsizing their homes, and suddenly they gain the ability to invest, an emergency fund, lower financial stress. Wealth is rarely built through heroic sacrifice. It's usually built through a few large rational decisions. Now the most important part. What should someone actually do if they're living paycheck to paycheck? Let's take an average household income. Say, after-tax income is $5,500 per month. Here's a practical budget structure. 50% necessities, rent or mortgage, insurance, groceries, transportation. No more than $2,750. If your basic expenses are higher than that, financial pressure becomes almost unavoidable. 20% debt elimination. Focus first on credit cards, personal loans, high-interest debt. Not investing, not trading. First stop the financial bleeding. 15% investments. After building an emergency fund, 4-0-1-K, Roth IRA, S&P 500 index funds. Don't try to beat the market. Most people lose because they try to get rich too fast. 10% cash reserve. At minimum, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Because in America, one job loss can financially destroy someone within months. 5% freedom money. Yes, spending matters too. Extreme financial self-denial almost always leads to burnout. Real-life case. A man from Florida. Income, $78,000 per year. What he did, sold his expensive car, paid off the credit cards, moved into an apartment that was $400 cheaper, started automatic investments of $500 per month. 3 years later, emergency fund, investment portfolio, almost zero consumer debt, not because of crypto, not because of a secret strategy, but because of disciplined cash flow management. Now let's talk about what truly destroys financial futures. Mistake number 1. I'll start investing later. The problem: time is an investor's greatest asset. Even small amounts matter. Mistake number 2. Minimum payments are fine. No. Minimum payments are designed to keep people in debt as long as possible. Mistake number 3. I need to look successful. The wealthiest people often look completely ordinary. The most financially unstable people often try hardest to appear rich. Mistake number 4. I'll solve debt with another loan. Without changing behavior, you're just moving the problem into the future. Mistake number 5. I'll get rich quickly through trading. Most people lose money not because markets are bad, but because emotions overpower strategy. And now the biggest conclusion: living paycheck to paycheck is not just a personal problem. It's a symptom of the modern economy itself. America created a system where spending money is incredibly easy, but building wealth is difficult. Algorithms push people to buy, Banks profit from debt. Social media sells fake success. But financial freedom is still possible, not through a perfect life, but through controlling cash flow. 3 key steps. 1. Reduce fixed expenses, especially housing, transportation, high-interest debt. 2. Build an emergency fund. Even 1 or 2 months of savings can dramatically reduce stress. 3. Invest automatically. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Consistency almost always beats emotion. Write in the comments, what puts the most pressure on your budget personally? Rent, debt, or groceries? And subscribe to Money Side of America. Here, we talk about money without motivational fairy tales, only how the system really works.